All right, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the B1 Roundtable. And today we have a very special guest with us, a newly minted United States sailor. And he's going to come and talk to us about his many travels around the world, his in-depth trip to several African countries. He even went to Spain. So we're going to live vicariously through these memories that he has come up with and see, has the military changed him? What did it do? How did it do? Because we got two vets from the military in here already. So we'll go ahead and start out with the introductions. We'll go start with Sister Gwen, then we'll move to Doc, and then we'll go to our special guests.
Hi there, I'm Gwen B, Black First, and that's all you need to know. That should say it all.
Dr. James Thomas Jones III, African American Studies professor. I'm glad to be here.
Hello, my name is Emil A. As Mr. Mohammed previously stated, I'm currently serving in the United States Navy and been to a lot of countries around the world, particularly in Africa. But before I joined the Navy, I've been making a lot of YouTube videos highlighting and discussing Black issues because I think it's one of the important stuff going on around the world that needs to be discussed and shed light on.
All right, all right. So, Emil, you're fresh out of basic training and advanced individual training. Um, how did your basic training go? How well did you adapt? Was it something hard, or what was that like?
I actually adapted pretty well and pretty quick. Um, I honestly did get yelled at a lot of times because uh, sometimes it was hard for me to understand things and follow directions. And to also be honest with you all, uh, I'm not a fast learner, and I have uh, I have some learning disabilities. When I from elementary school through high school, I was put on IEP. I forgot what that stands for, but it's like a special education program for people with special needs, learning disabilities, autism, ADHD, and Asperger's. So anyway, regardless of my um condition, I still adapted pretty well and pretty quick during basic training, and I didn't struggle at all. I made it through successfully in one piece, and because of that, my family is very proud of me, and I'm sure you all are too.
Mhm. Most definitely. Do you have a story that you remember that probably was pretty funny? Probably wasn't funny then, but when you stop and think about it now, it's pretty funny.
Oh yes. So um, during boot camp, a lot of recruits in my division got tested positive for COVID. So they all had to be put in isolation in tranquility. And my division had to quarantine in one of the drill halls. The drill halls that they use for graduation ceremonies, they converted those to quarantine spots for divisions that need to quarantine. So my division was one of those divisions that had to quarantine in the drill halls. And one time when I got really, really cold, I bundled up myself in 4 brown shirts and a jacket, and I got caught doing that.
Mm.
And the one of the drill instructors said that that was an uniform of the day. I'm only supposed to be wearing 1 brown shirt, not all of my brown shirts. So usually when somebody from a division fucks up, usually they put everyone on intensive training exercises, but they didn't. Uh, they were nice enough. The drill instructor was nice enough not to do that to us. Instead, the drill instructor made us do bunk bed makeup practices.
Mm. Mm. Interesting.
But
Interesting.
nobody from my division got mad at me for causing that. They actually found it funny that I would bundle up in 4 shirts and a jacket.
Mm. Wow.
That's pretty tame.
Interesting.
That's
Interesting.
funny.
Sister Gwen, do you have any you have any stories you remember from basic training that something that was funny, may not have been funny then, but funny now?
Oh, my basic training was different. We were Air Force. We different. Um, Let me see. Plus, it was the 70s. We did some of everything. My basic training was fun and hysterical. Instead of doing confidence course, we did makeup classes. So we sit in the afternoon, 4 hours, pretending to put on makeup and gossiping in the classroom. In the daytime, we marched and did all of that and got our drills right. Um, One of the funny thing is somebody mailed some marijuana to one of the girls, so they were smoking in the bathroom. I didn't smoke dope, but I kept watch and stuff like that because I'm one of the cool kids. But they were smoking in the bathroom, blowing it out the vent. That included the dorm chief, some of the squad leaders. One of the girls was dating one of the guy that ran the NCO club, and he got us the answers whether the study guide to the test that we had to take to get out of basic training to pass. So me being the goody two shoes, but always a cool girl, they let me, it was my turn to hold it and review it. And that's when they decided to look for dope. So they looked through all of our stuff. They couldn't find no dope. But I think the TIs didn't really want to catch nobody with dope. So they told them 2 people who definitely didn't have it, which was me and another little girl who was a straight lace, sweetest thing. And so me and her were the ones that actually got searched. Meanwhile, I got that contraband in my thing, hiding it, paperwork. And I'm saying, oh, I hope she don't really look at that, because the teachers, the TIs, one of the basic trainees observed a Coke spoon on her keychain. So that was me in basic. That was funny. We had a ball. That was my basic training. The most we had, I made all of my fellow trainees sign my birthday card that I was going to send to my mother. So she got a birthday card with like 40 signatures on it. That was cute though. And so I had fun in basic.
Wow. Doc, you got any stories from maybe your freshman year in college that wasn't funny then, but it's funny now?
Hell no. my my freshman year in college, you got to remember, I went to 3 different schools and had a freshman year at 3 different schools because I didn't make it academically. My first school was Memphis State. Had a health issue there, so I wound up leaving there, and I ended up at this place called Bluffton College in Bluffton, Ohio. It is a dry county, and it has one flashing yellow light. Okay, if you know what the Amish are, it's a Mennonite school, basically the Amish with electricity. And I remember my first day there, thinking that somebody was breaking in to my room. And so, because it was something hidden in the window, like they were trying to come through the window of my dorm room. And so I snuck up on the curtain and, tried to open it real fast, like I'm gonna scare them or what have you. And it was a cow that was banging his head up against the window, trying to, it was that, and probably the most unusual out of the box thing that you could imagine a somewhat city kid experiencing at 18 years old is cow tipping. I went out there with these because there were only 5 Black students at Bluffton College total, um, and we went cow tipping to try and fit in with the white boys. And if you don't know what cow tipping is, it is sneaking out on a farm, climbing through some barbed wire fence, and sneaking up on cows. Cows sleep standing up, and you go up and you push the damn cow over. And of course, imagine somebody pushing you out of your bed. When you wake up, you're gonna be mad as hell. And I didn't know that cows had facial expressions until I pushed one over. And he got up and he was mad as shit and proceeded to chase me down. I didn't understand I was supposed to run for the fence. So I'm running around in a circle trying to dodge him like he's a linebacker or something. And the damn thing ran me completely the fuck over. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It took me about 3 weeks to not still be bruised. You could see where his hooves went and all of that. Yeah. And everybody that went out there scared as hell because they thought I was dead because I couldn't move after it had then stepped on my chest and my neck. Instead of calling the local fire department, they drug my ass over to the fence and then threw me over it. If I did have a spinal injury, I would have been paralyzed forever. And they carried me to my dorm room and simply put me in the bed, clothes still on and all, okay, and waited to see if I showed up for breakfast the next day. That was the amount of care that the idiots I went to school with gave. So that would be that would be one of, and that's just, like I said, I did four freshman year. It took me 4 years to make it out of freshman classification.
It's hysterical.
I was not very focused, so yeah.
I was smart enough on my freshman year after I ended with a GPA of 1.66 and gonna be on probation if I started the fall year. And I decided that I didn't need to be in college. So I joined the Air Force so I could fund my party until I settled down.
When I left Bluffton College, I gave them back their basketball scholarship. Went home in the middle of the semester. Greg Barbarack, he was our coach, our supposed coach. Greg Barbarack was so mad at me that he switched all of my grades to what I had originally earned. I left Bluffton after a year and a half there with a 0.03 GPA.
Wow.
Yeah. And no other college would let me
What?
That's bad. That's a terrible GPA.
And that's why I tell people, you can always make it. Or I've had to have that conversation with quite a few people. You can always turn it around if you get a chance. And so when my last freshman year at the main campus of Ohio State, my mother told me, she said, you've proven that you can't handle free time. So you're gonna have to work. And so I was very structured. I had to work at a record store from 5 to 10 p.m. And then I worked at UPS from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. And I studied from 4 to about 7:38, ate breakfast. And of course, I only had 9 meals for the week. I couldn't afford no full 21 meal plan. So I had to get the 9. And, I would go to class from 8 to 12, and then I would rush back to my dorm. I go to sleep from 12 to 4, and be up at 4 and go out and hawk them records. That was what my life was. So yeah. So I didn't really have the typical college experience that a lot of people had, where they were able to, pledge to fraternities and stuff like that. That wasn't my experience.
Wow.
Hmm?
Wow. So you couldn't outrun the cow?
No.
Obviously not. Okay, I didn't know where I was running to. First off, okay, I didn't have enough sense to run back to the fence. I thought the cow was like a bear that can't run going left and right. Nah, his ass can gallop left and right. A cow is very fucking agile.
Wow.
I thought that I had a strategy. I would just run in circles and stuff. And that cow, it took an angle like it was Bruce Smith or Ed Too Tall Jones, and it hit me head on, head to head, knocked me down, and then walked over my ass. And then stood there looking at between me and them idiots I went out there with.
Was it a cow or a bull?
It was a cow.
You got beat up by a female?
You got that right. I did. Thank God it wasn't a damn bull. It would have probably killed my ass. It was a bull. It hit me head to head. There was nothing I could do. It had me. I was tired. It was muddy out there. I was slipping and sliding, and I didn't have enough sense to know. They didn't tell me run back to the fence. You got about 6 seconds to make it back. I stood there. I was standing there as the damn thing scrambled up and looked, and got a very good look at who had pushed it over. And it started galloping. And
I woke up cranky.
Oh my God, that damn thing was so mad. It was incredible. And it's like, here I'm supposed to be going to practice. I can't go to practice, and they want to know why I can't run. Just think about how imaginative you gotta be to explain to somebody paying for your education. Hey man, I can't go today, and I probably ain't gonna be able to go for several weeks. Okay, I can't show on my chest and what happened to me. It's gonna raise too many questions. That I've been out somewhere doing some breaking curfew, because we did have a curfew. It was horrible, and I can't tell my mama, and my daddy ain't got no faith in me because I had already messed up at one school. So yeah, that was my experience. Boot camp seems like a walk in the park compared to what I went through.
That's funny.
My God. Yeah. That I could see that. Man, I had a few different experiences in my boot camp, my basic training. And I think the one that really stands out the most for me is, it was the Army. So, you got to physical train, and you got to fight with Pugo sticks at one point. And I never did that before. And even still, I still can't even get my hands right trying to remember, how it do. But they give you this stick with the two things on the end, and you're supposed to fight your partner with it. Well, here I am, I'm a black guy coming from DC. My person, I got to fight a little white boy from Iowa. And they give me the stick, and they put the helmet on our head, and they say, fight. So I go over there to try to hit him, and he pop, pop, pop. I'm like, God damn. So he knew how to use those. And I'm like, shit. And so I turned my back to walk back away, giving me some drills. So I'm like, don't turn your back. So I got to turn back over again. And as soon as I turn back around, blah, 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 he hit me again. And I'm like, shit. And I'm just thinking, man, I can't get my ass whooped because I'm from DC and Philly. They got Baltimore over here. We got Jersey over here. If I go back over there and this white boy whoop my ass, my little standing is going to drop. Everybody going to be picking on me. So I turn around one more time and he blah, blah, blah. I said, fuck it. I threw that damn stick down and grabbed his ass. I was beating the shit out of him. I was lighting his ass up. The drill sergeant blowing the whistle and everything. Like, get on, get on, get on, get on. Pull us apart. And he said, well, god damn. He said, soldier, look here. You might can't fight with them bugle sticks, but god damn it, I love your heart. You get it done any way you got to. Then I went back on the side, and the brother was like, yeah. But if you let that white boy whoop your ass, we would have been joking you the whole damn time. Because I said,
all I can think of right now is Black First, Eric Killmonger saying, and this is your king. This is your king right here that went out here and got destroyed.
With some sticks.
My brother. That's worse than getting you talking about I couldn't outrun a cow. You didn't get it. I won't even say it, brother.
And those sticks sound like fun. I wanted to do it.
If you know how to use it, that white boy was using that damn stick. I ain't gonna lie. He knew how to whop, whop, whop. Quick, and I'm trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? I
would look forward to doing that. That sounds like total fun.
Shoot, I go with what works. This what works.
That worked, and you woke and you lit him up. Good.
Exactly.
Should be okay. Plan A, you went to plan B.
Exactly. Any means necessary. I ain't taking that L. Not today.
Because you had your honor to protect, and you had a bunch of folks waiting on you so they could rag you out.
Exactly.
They should rag you out if you had to get your butt beat.
Exactly.
I didn't even know you then. I would have been for them to rag you out.
Exactly. I remember my thing my granddaddy told me. We don't lose to white people. That's just you representing your race. We do not lose to white people. And I understood that he only had to tell me that once. And how firm he was, and granddaddy ain't never been like that before, you know what I'm saying? But he let me know, you don't lose. You don't lose.
That's right.
Yeah, man. So Emil, tell us about your what was the first country you went into?
Can you hear me? I think I unmuted my mic. So
yes.
The first country I went to, my first port visit in Africa from the Med was Liberia. But we were only anchored out. We didn't get any liberty off the ship in that port visit because a lot of people, again, in my command, in my ship, tested positive for COVID. So everybody had to wear a face mask for 1 week. And we didn't get liberty in that country. So we were only anchored out. But
so y'all sailed to Africa. Y'all sailed to Africa.
Yes.
You didn't fly. You said how I've flown across the Atlantic. Okay. What in the world is that like to be on a ship going across the Atlantic? Because from the air there appears to be nothing out there. What is that? What does that feel like?
Well, sometimes at any chance I get, I'd go out the ship to look at the ocean, and it's just as boring as being up in the air seeing nothing. Because I was expecting to see a lot of whales and dolphins, and I didn't see any of them. Not even seabirds. And Gwen B and Maurice Mohammed, if y'all still follow the Radical Sister on YouTube, she's been talking about this Fukushima radiation for a long time that's killing our oceans.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that could also be the reason why I didn't see much whales and dolphins, because of the radiation that could be killing them off.
Mm.
It was a very rare sight to see any whales and dolphins.
I agree.
Mm.
And I still watch her and follow her, and she's right. Everything she's saying is coming true.
Yeah, and when I went scuba diving in Seychelles, this coral reef environment that we went scuba diving, the corals were dead, and there were hardly any fishes.
Wow.
That was even worse. She's, if anything, she's underreporting because everything I'm
Exactly.
seeing is worse than what she'd already said.
Mm.
That the oceans are dying.
So
You didn't see no fish?
you didn't see anything in the Atlantic as you crossed.
Well, as we went down towards southern Africa, that's when I began to see more whales and dolphins, but they were still a pretty rare sight.
Wow.
I didn't see them all the time.
Wow. Wow.
Mm. Now we do have, I'm gonna share screen, because we do have a picture with you with the dolphins, right?
Oh, that was not in the Navy. That's in this place in Orlando, Florida called Discovery Cove.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So, okay,
it's
okay.
it's 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 like it's owned by SeaWorld. It's owned by SeaWorld Parks and Entertainment. It's a place where you can swim with dolphins and interact with animals.
Oh, wow. So, do you have pictures of you in Africa here?
Nah, I'm about to post them shortly.
Okay. So
But
this picture,
I'm taking my time though in posting pictures because of how the algorithm in Instagram and Facebook works.
mhm.
There's a certain time you gotta post, and you can't keep posting every time because it's gonna be less visible.
So this picture right here, where you're, I guess you're cooking something in these
Yes,
two.
that's in the that's in the ship's galley.
Mm.
I'm a culinary specialist, CS. That's my rate in the Navy.
Nice.
So
Either want to
what?
be in the food or the weapons. If you're going to be in the military, be near the food or the weapons. Control food or weapons. Food.
Yeah, I chose that rate because I didn't want to be involved in anything combat related. I didn't really want to put my life on the line like that. So I decided to do something where weapons are less involved. And to be honest with you, I'm really scared handling a gun, just as I'm scared driving.
What are you making?
Beef brisket in that
Okay.
picture. But
Mm.
I make a variety of other foods. We
Mm.
also make a lot of Filipino foods because there's a lot of Filipinos who serve in the United States Navy, and that has influenced the culture in the Navy and what we do and cook there.
Okay.
There's even a saying that the Navy is full of Filipino mafias.
Oh, wow. What is this? What are you getting an award here?
Yeah, I got 2 awards for being sailor in the spotlight and a letter of commendation from the CEO, the captain.
And who are these people standing next with you?
So on the far left is the XO, the executive officer.
Mm-hmm.
The one closest to my left is the CEO, the captain.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy on the left is command senior chief.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So the black woman was your XO?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How was
But
that?
she left now. We have a new XO,
Mm-hmm.
but she was a really good XO to us.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. Okay.
Okay, as the non-U.S. military individual here, what is an XO?
Executive officer,
What does that mean?
like one of the highest ranking officers in the military.
Management.
And also as a foodie, some people would call me a chef. You know, so some people.
You
My
would call
dad,
yourself a chef.
my dad refers to me as Chef Homeboy RD.
Okay.
But when it comes down to deciding what's going to be cooked, what is the process that the U.S. military goes through? Who makes those decisions?
I'm sorry, Dr. Jones. What were you asking again?
Yeah, who makes the decision on what's going to be the menu?
Oh, the
And also, how
the first class. No. The first class culinary specialists are the ones who make the decisions what meal is to be made. I mean, they're the ones who approve of the meals, but the third class culinary specialists, they make the meals and then they get approved by the first classes who are in charge of us.
Okay, my mind is just really kind of blown that I know that you guys have to go across the Atlantic and the Pacific. I get that, but what is that process of stocking food on the ship? What percentage of the ship is reserved for that? And where's the food stored at?
So before we get to the ship, there's already enough food stored in the ship for to last the whole deployment, and they're all stored in huge reefers at the mission deck, the second level of the
Oh,
ship.
hold on, well, back up, my man. Now, when you say reefer, I'm a child of the 70s. My mind goes someplace that I know that you don't mean. That
It means refrigerator.
in my world.
Yeah, like huge
Big three-door
refrigerators.
refrigerators. If he don't tell you, I can tell you.
Yeah, I mean, you got to talk to me.
The military has a 6-week cycle catalog of menus. They have a 6 or 8 week cycle of menus that they have already preloaded, and it's in a catalog. And each day that the military uses it, at least it was when I was in, it's for 6 or 8 weeks, and it's a cycle, and it's a full menu with 2 entrees and side dishes and all. And so it's standard across the military for the regular meals. For the kind where they have like a short order cook, then they have the same 7 menu items, 7 entrees daily. That's a snack food line. That is, they have burgers and things like that. Hot dogs, burgers, chicken. For the fast food, snack food line, and the main line, there'll be Wednesday, January the 4th, they'll have lasagna and something else, like a lasagna and chicken. The next day they have scheduled for beef and lobster. They'll have meatloaf and pork chops on another day. Fish and
So
excuse
me for a second, ma'am.
Yeah.
I just like to add that the way we run the meals during the days of the week is it's also culture based. So on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, for example, it's Taco Tuesday, and then Wednesdays are burger days, and Saturdays are pizza nights.
Oh,
And this way they can plan for 6, 12, 8 weeks and months in advance. It's they can even procure food, and the food is procured through the commissary services. So the storeroom will look ahead 2 weeks and begin ordering their food and getting planning for it, so that they're never running out. They're not running out.
Our supply officer makes sure that we never run out of food.
Yeah.
Because if that happens, she can be put to jail.
Yeah. They're serious about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because you have jeopardized the nation's security.
Yeah.
Okay, now hold on. I
Yes.
got a question. And I feel as if the spirit of my brother Carlton has entered into my body. I'm really asking this question for him.
Go ahead.
Okay. Is it all you can eat?
Yes and no. You have to bring
Now,
your
hold on, Sister Gwen. It can't be yes and no.
Well, what it is that you show your empty plate. You can't come, you got to go and eat your stuff. And then if you want more, then get it. Because you can't just load down with 2 entrees when you're only supposed to get one, and then go down there and only eat one of them and then throw it away. They don't want to throw away food. So if you finish your entree, like you want a second slice of meatloaf, you go and eat your full slice of meatloaf. And if you want more, you can come back for seconds. But you can't get 2 things of seconds when you go in there. Like you want 2 slices of meatloaf instead of 1. You got to go get your 1, eat it, and then come back. That's what I'm saying, yes and no. And you can come back as many times as you want, so long as you eat what you got before you come asking for more. That's why it's yes and no.
Okay, when do the cooks and chefs eat? Do they eat?
They eat before you do.
Yeah, we always eat before one of us starts serving.
That's right.
And then another group will start preparing for the next meal.
Yeah. So they eat about an hour before everybody else, when everything's done and set up on the steam table, the cooks eat, and then they open up the place.
Here's my question. Who announces what we're eating? Because that'd be my question.
It's published. It's published.
Oh, so nobody stands outside the door and like...
No, it's all published.
Put their chest out and barks it out? I saw that in
publish
the Naval
a month
Academy.
in advance. They can publish it a month, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. It's already programmed. I mean, it's already in the catalog. It's a big book that has what you got to order. Yeah, that's why it's a book. I forgot the name of it, but military catalog foods, and then you order your rations. You order your rations a month in advance, and you know what you need. Only thing you have to order short term is the produce and things that are perishable. But for the solid and hard goods, you can order 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months in advance, and be accurate.
Okay. I thought it'd be somebody out there, like, in the barracks announcing it and shit like that,
No.
Today we're having pork chop.
I can order like that, looking at the catalog and knowing what the rations are. Even a little 19 or 20-year-old can do that. I did that. All people that in the military, we have 2 jobs we go in. One is to do the job and one to train to grow to the next level. So my supervisor sat me down and showed me how to plan the menus based on the military menu catalog and order supplies based on that catalog and put in requisitions. And yes, anytime a storeroom person runs out of something that they need that's vital, yes, he can go to jail because he jeopardized the nation's security. Anytime the military personnel on that base is not capable of doing their job to their top level, and whoever messed them up is the one that's accountable. Excuse me, not only will he be in trouble or she be in trouble, her supervisor will be in trouble, and the people above, all up the chain of command. That's the way it's supposed to work.
So in essence, that's why they're so stern and strict in watching what you doing, because you effing up is gonna cause them to get, oh yeah, I put my foot all the way up in your ass then.
Yes. If they're gonna be accountable for what you do, they're gonna be on top of you until you prove yourself.
I get that.
And that they will be in trouble for what you did.
Thank you both for that, because it's a world that like with Brother Muhammad. Brother Muhammad, we had this one show where he was talking, and he started talking about, oh, well, I know when you get the PhD, you making 200 grand up in there. And all of us that were PhDs sitting there was like, obviously he ain't had no exposure to what it is that we do. Okay. And it's like the military it's behind, to use a war history jargon, it's almost like it's behind an iron curtain where we may, if we have someone who's in the military, may get to see the ceremonial aspects of it, but the day-to-day thing, we don't. We have no idea what, because I'm just amazed. I would love to just see where they keep the, see the reefer, where they keep where they keep the food at. Those types of things just would it's an amazing thing.
I'll describe them to you and you'll understand them.
Yeah.
The refrigerators, we call them walk-in refrigerators or walk-in freezers. And these are the size of a 10 by 10 room and larger, and some are smaller. But you walk in and there are shelves of frozen food in there. Shelves. And a walk-in refrigerator, the same thing. They have cold storage where they keep the fruit and vegetables in there and perishables. And then they have a refrigerator, which is different, and freezer, which is different. They can be walk-in. And then we have what they call reach-in refrigerators and freezers. These are the 3-door refrigerators that are usually located inside of the kitchen area for quick things that they're going to be prepping that day. And that's a shorter term storage. And that's usually a day or within a day or so to be used. And they also have freezers.
Okay. Who's the supplier?
That would be called the supply clerk. And it was not it is a team.
No,
maybe 2 or 3 people.
No, I'm asking.
Oh.
Where are the goods being secured from?
They would be from commissary services. That's another word for food.
No. You missing what I'm asking. Are you guys getting brand name Ore-Ida French fries?
Yes.
Or are you
brand
getting,
name.
or does the U.S. government have its own system where they manufacture their own food?
No, they don't manufacture their own food, but they do government commodity food as well as name brand. Yes, we get name brand, and they get it from their mass distribution warehouse.
Okay. Well, all right.
And commissary services in the local area would order it. And that would, a commissary is like a gigantic grocery store that people can go to, but they also order food behind the scenes, and they order it in bulk.
Okay, are you guys, and this is for the cook, are you cooking or are you just frying and reheating?
Well, both. Depending on, because I was also in food service.
Yeah.
I was even an instructor in food service.
Okay.
So whatever he can't answer, I can answer.
They're doing both, you say?
Well, depending on which level of food service you're assigned to. Like a flight kitchen makes sandwiches, and they might roast the beef and fry the chicken. You get the chicken already cut up and already ready to be fried, but they're frying chicken and roasting beef, and they're slicing the beef, and they're slicing the ham, and they're slicing the whatever, and they might get the bologna already sliced and the salami already sliced for them to make sandwiches for the flight kitchen. That's a different level of food service than in the dining hall where they cook.
What is a flight kitchen?
That is the kitchen for the in the Air Force or in the Navy, where the pilots and the air crew take with them into the sky when they fly, and they need to have a meal in the air. So that would be the flight kitchen for the people who prepare the lunches for the air crew to go fly in their aircraft as they go across the country or the world. And that's what they call a flight kitchen. The people who prepare that is a kitchen, and that's where they are. However, if you are a ground crew and you're going to the dining hall, then
I don't want to hear nothing about no grounds crew. I told you I used to want to be a fighter pilot. So just tell me about what kind of sandwiches, because I'm gonna need one on my left and one on my right.
Okay, they ordered 6 meals. They're gonna make a scramble, and that is a quick launch into the air. and they order 6 meals to be picked up at such and such a time. Somebody might order a roast beef sandwich, a chicken sandwich, or a chicken meal, a roast beef meal, a snack meal, or a bologna. They might only bologna snack. So you get a bologna sandwich, a piece of fruit, and a drink. That's a snack. Or you might want the full meal. So you got the sandwich, you got the juice, you got the potato chips, and something else in there. About 7 items to take with you that are portable. So that's what kind of thing you get from the flight kitchen.
So what if, because if it's real good, I'm gonna want to eat all mine early.
Then you order 2 meals.
Oh hell no! See, I knew God wanted me to be a fighter pilot. in order to, and ain't nobody gonna look at you cross-eyed. Oh.
No, we won't look at you. You got to sign for it. We don't care what you ordered. We'll get it for you. Your crew chief is responsible for seeing to you being fed. We make the order and you sign for it, and they walk out with it, and we write down what you got. We don't care. Just tell us what you want and we can get it to you.
They'll probably give me Dr. Now for my 600-pound life as my crew chief.
No, because they put you out when you get the.
if you eat them 3 sandwiches, Jones, your ass ain't gonna fit in the cockpit.
That's right. They'll put you.
Be the last supper for you.
They'll just roll it right out.
Thank you both for raising that curtain for me, because those are, I'm fascinated with food, and those are, thank you. These are definitely the things that I learned today. Definitely.
In the dining halls, depending on what you're assigned to make, you can make complicated 6-course meals. That's the main cook, as they call it. It'll be a main cook that'll be the first cook, and he'll make the complicated meal, the barbecue, the lasagna, the chicken, whatever is on order. And then the snack cook will be handling the snack line, and those are for the burgers, the cheeseburgers, the things like that.
So for you military people, question: is there a meal that when you saw it coming up, you was like, oh yeah, this is my favorite. I'm getting ready to. Was there anything that was just so tasteful that you look forward to receiving it? What was your favorite, or was it all kind of the same?
They have a menu recipe thing. I think it's like 1,000 menu items or so. Well, menu cards. If I gotta give you a visual. The box of menu items is something like this. I think about 2 feet long, and and these are menu cards that they have. Is about 2 feet long or so, and they're index card size, and that's how much variety of the food is for the main items. Mm-hmm. And the cook that comes and cooks, they just pull out the menu items. I mean, recipe, and come and hang it up on the little thing and look at it when they make the food. So my favorite was lasagna that one of my first cooks made in the afternoon for lunch or supper. I like their lasagna.
Okay. Thank you.
Emil, what was a favorite meal you had?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't have a favorite meal because eventually I quickly got fed up with what I was eating in the ship all the time. It's not the kind of food that I was used to eating back home. The food I eat back home is much better, but in my opinion, the food that I was cooking and eating in the ship, it was garbage. I hate to talk about food like that, but that's what it really is. I mean, if you were in that ship, y'all get tired of eating the same stuff every day.
Yeah.
There's no variety. Yeah. Every day it's either chicken, pork chops, ribeye, beef.
Whoa, my man! What is you used to eating then? If I ain't doing it.
Listen, Jones, he's Filipino. Listen, if you've
What
never
that got
had,
to do with it?
if you've never had Filipino food, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Okay?
Don't try.
Way more flavorful.
Don't try to culturally shame me.
Yeah, you should be ashamed, nigga.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry.
in the ship,
The only thing you ever eat was
If
fried
you've
chicken in
never
your
had
life, man.
Filipino food, like he been over there in the Philippines.
No, but like you live in Houston, bro. Houston's got tons of Filipino people down here, bro, and the food slaps.
Them is Filipino Americans. That ain't authentic. All right, go ahead, Emil.
Listen, do me a
I'm
favor,
also-
Jones. Take
I'm
your
not-
uncultured ass to
Let this
Jollibee.
Negro up, Emil.
Go to Jollibee over by Reliance Stadium.
hey, we have a Jollibee here in Virginia. In Virginia Beach, we got a Jollibee.
Go ahead. He's been muted.
I think that's the only Jollibee we have. No, there's a whole bunch of Jollibees in New York City, but we have one Jollibee restaurant here in Virginia Beach. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm a pescatarian, so the only meat I eat is fish and seafood and vegetables. So there really wasn't anything good for pescatarians, vegetarians, or vegans in the ship.
So what do you eat?
Fish. If we
So they ain't
cook
broke you down
and have
yet.
fish available.
So they ain't broke it down yet. Causing you to avoid to put man, get some chitlins. You know, get some pork in your life, man. Get some chitlins, man.
Nah, I can't have that stuff.
And I'd be worried about that fish knowing that it came out the ocean.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
I love smoked salmon, so it's gonna take some time for me to lay off of seafood, but that's something I just might try in the future because I became a pescatarian ever since I was a freshman in high school back in 2013, and I actually didn't have any struggle doing it. Other people I've spoken to before who attempted to be vegetarians, they couldn't do it. They needed that meat in their life. But me, I was never a fan or lover of meat, except for seafood. So it wasn't a struggle for me converting to the new diet. So maybe at some point in the future, I might become vegetarian or vegan. But I love ice cream. So, and knowing that ice cream comes from dairy products, I don't think I'd ever become full vegan.
And you all over the place, ain't you? Like Carlton. Watermelon and
No, man, listen, I don't eat meat during Lent. I say for meat during Lent and Advent. And then other than that, I'll eat meat.
Part of one of the cults.
I don't eat on Wednesday and Fridays. I don't eat meat on Wednesdays and Fridays. There you go, bam.
It's troubling, man. It's just troubling. You know.
So
Air Force. So Air Force foods, I guess I went to an Army base or two and I didn't see any real bad difference in their food. And I never went to a Navy place to eat, but Air Force food, I worked at two of the places that always won the Hennessy Trophy. And that was Lackland and Laurie. So I worked at some of the best places. I was stationed at where they had the best places that prepared food. Because I didn't ever have a problem with the Air Force food. The cooks were clean. That's why, I adjusted very well to military food service because I was already taught to be a clean cook at home. That's how we cooked at home. We wash our hands as soon as we hit the kitchen and wash our hands all during cooking. And nobody tasted out the pot and stuff like that in our households. Taste out the pot is when somebody comes with the spoon, stir it in the pot, slurp out of it, stir it back, dunk it back in, and
lapping in the Applejack. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't do that in the house, and in the military, that's not allowed either. So it was an easy adjustment for me, and I wanted to be in food service when I went in because I wanted control of what I ate because I didn't trust other people cooking. So we were raised, not to do things like that, and that's a big no-no for me. I will dump you. I won't ever eat your food if I see you tasting out the pot, trying to give me your food. That's an insult. I get mad. So, and I won't work at places where people do that. And I won't, and when I manage places, I didn't allow my cooks to do that. But I really did adapt well to military food service because I saw that as a means of security, whatever happens. Control the food or the weapons.
Mm. So, Emil, tell us about which was the first African country that you actually got to go into and explore. Which was that?
Lagos, Nigeria.
Tell us about it.
The place honestly seemed sort of sketchy. Even some of the people were sketchy because the way they were looking at us, it's like in a way that looked like in a way that we weren't made to feel welcome.
Mm. Mm.
And I can understand where they're coming from with that because of the way Americans carry themselves when they visit and go tour the countries. Even Europeans who are white, just like white Americans, they also can't stand white Americans because of that. So I can sort of see where they're coming from with that. And many of these African countries we went to, these are countries that the U.S. military as a whole has avoided for decades. And the only reason why we started visiting these nations is because of what China has been doing in Africa for a long time. So the U.S. military is kicking in and supposedly showing their so-called care and kindness, but really and truly, they're also there for the resources. They don't want the Chinese taking all the resources from Africa. So the US wants all the resources for themselves without even really caring for the people. I mean, even some of the crackers in my ship, they were also noticing and realizing that the stuff we're doing in these African countries is just because we're after the resources, not because we actually care about the people and what China is doing to them.
That's
So
educational.
what exactly were y'all doing there then? Can you tell us?
Well, my command is mostly community relations. So we do all these comrails in all these African countries we visit. We do activities such as going to orphanages, schoolhouses, teach kids their English. We play sports with them. We paint and sort of help renovate their structures. And we also do environment related stuff such as cleaning up trashes and cleaning the beaches off of garbage and pollution.
Wow.
But then again, the people in my ship were saying that it's fake love and it's not isn't it we weren't really sincere about doing it.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Did you have any experience with the locals in any of the African countries? Did
Yes,
you have
I did.
some?
When I was in Cape Town, South Africa, I was at this bar one night and I got really, really drunk. So I started saying some stuff that I shouldn't be saying around other people. I went to this. I got when I got really drunk, I came to these couple, this South African couple, and they were black South Africans. They weren't one of those white South Africans. They were black South Africans, and I was telling them how Africa is a really nice place. The people there are really kind, lovely, and my heart goes out to African people. And I was telling this couple that if they ever travel outside of Africa, don't visit the US because there are police killings there, and their black asses would be in really terrible danger. And I also told them not to visit China because the Chinese wouldn't want their black asses there either. They hate black people.
Emil, I know you were trying to help, but I'm gonna go over
So
very
you can
well.
watch your alcohol intake, big fella. You better watch your alcohol intake, big fella.
Well, at least you came out alive.
Oh, shit.
What was that?
Yeah.
At least you came out alive.
Yeah. But this couple I was doing
Lord.
that to, they got unnerved. So they left. But before they left, I asked them if I could give them a hug. And we gave each other and we did hug each other. And my Liberty buddy, my Liberty buddy, who was the sober Liberty buddy, meaning he was the Liberty buddy that refrained from drinking while everybody else in the group can drink. He was telling me to quit being so touchy with people. And he also told me he also told me that I should never go up to a bunch of chiefs and tell them I'm drunk, because that's also what I did. These chiefs that were sitting all together in one table in the bar, I came up to them and I told them how drunk I was.
You're bringing validation to an old saying. Drunk men tell no lies.
Before I joined the Navy, I didn't want anything to do with alcohol. The only reason why I started drinking is because the Navy got me into it. The Navy corrupted my mind. But before I joined the Navy, I never ever wanted to have anything to do with alcohol or smoking. But hey, I got hooked on drinking now. But smoking is one thing that I definitely will refrain from, because it's not good for your body.
Think about joining the Air Force. I think they'll let you still go palace chase, as they called it, I think. Get out the Navy, join the Air Force. I think you'll have more fun.
How are the people in the Air Force? Are they less wild and corrupt than the Navy?
Well, I haven't seen them in a long time, active duty, but I think the Air Force is just a better branch if you're going to be in. Because
Okay.
Navy is I never liked the Navy the way I just don't like what I see of the Navy as much as I do the Air Force. But I think it might be my bias. I like, of all the branches I had the choice to join any of the branches, and I chose the Air Force.
Okay.
Well, just look around, go see if you can go to an Air Force base and sit around and look, and just sit down and look. You sit on one of the benches and look at the people. Talk to them,
Yeah.
ask them how they like it. Think about it.
My friend from my command, who is a melanated brother, he said that after he's done with the Navy, he's going to go to the Air Force. If he ever chooses to re-enlist in the military, he's not going to re-enlist in the Navy. He wants to join the Air Force because he heard that it's much better there. Which is also from what I'm hearing from you right now.
You live in Virginia right now. Go to one of the Air Force bases. They'll let you in and sit down and on one of the benches or in their dining hall and just observe. Look at their food. Look at the people. Look at how they're acting. Look in the commissaries. Look in the places where the civilian where they live at, and just observe and look and listen, and then you'll see for yourself. Ask the people, go to the personnel office, go to one of the office buildings, and tell them you're in the Navy thinking about joining the Air Force, and ask them about it. Ask the airmen how they like it, what they think, and just look and listen and talk to them. You can go right over there to any base because we got like a bazillion Air Force bases around in this area. And do
Yeah,
that.
I'll look into that.
And if you do decide to go, then go to an Air Force recruiter and they'll do all the paperwork for you if they want personnel.
So, do I have to go through basic training again for the Air Force?
I don't know. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. But you'll have to talk to the recruiter and they'll do the paperwork. They have this big book or this document that has all the openings. They have the specialists and you have to see what your test scores are and see what you qualify for. And if you are worried about your test scores, you can take some of the, get one of those books that you can practice your ASVAB test and see how your scores, you can improve the scores that you already got and see what you qualify for and let a recruiter talk to you and see what you have to do. That is, if you decide you even want to change. Because I think the Navy is limiting and I think the Air Force is a little bit broader and you'll get more experience about life. Ultimately, I wouldn't even join the military, but I think for you, maybe it's not a bad thing because you are getting more experience than you had when I first met you, I think a few years ago before you ever joined, because you would be on the black forums speaking truth and not like you because you'll be doing what I would be doing if it was the reverse. And I would want my people to treat whoever came in nice and respectful too, as long as they're respecting our culture and us. And I never had a problem with you coming with us because you were always you're me. You're just like me if it was a situation was reversed, because I would be calling out my own too, and I see you call out your own.
So there
Or even nice when you called them out.
was there a situation that you were in where you thought maybe you wasn't going to make it and you really had to buckle down to overcome?
Oh, yes, definitely. So, this was also in Cape Town, South Africa. I was at this bar and I was hanging out with these two women who were older than me. And because of my very nice, kind, and generous nature, I was paying for all. I was foolishly paying for all their meals and drinks.
Mm.
And
Okay,
when
that's on you.
when I got to a point where I had to stop doing it, it angered them. And when I went back to my Liberty group, they got really infuriated that I chose to stop hanging out with them and paying for their meals. They got the bartender, they got several other people in the bar, and even some of the people from my ship who were hanging out in there to come get my ass, drag me back to them, and pay for their meal, their drink. It got really wild and crazy in the bar. But the bartender didn't allow that to happen to me. She just told me to be careful with what I do next time so that other people don't take advantage of me. And then after that situation, we left and went back to the ship. And as me and my Liberty buddies were going back to the ship from the bar, one of them told me that I have to be really, really careful, especially when I'm in other countries, because there are women out there who will prey on men that seem vulnerable, which
Mm.
is how I carried myself by paying for all of their food and drinks.
That's not just
When they as middle-aged adults could do that for themselves.
Hmm. Definitely. Wow.
And that's
You
not
know,
limited to just there now. Do that in everywhere you work and go to. You
mm,
okay? You got to do that. You got to take care of yourself and have that self-preservation instinct kick in. They ain't your family. They don't know you. And so you got to remember you're dealing with strangers. And you might be lonely and want warmth of another human being, but you're still among strangers. So be careful. And that's for everywhere you go. Okay?
And from what I
Stay
learned
inside.
about South Africa has one of the highest crime rates in the world, worse than Chicago. And they have an issue there with dealing with drugs. And actually, on one of the first nights that we were in Cape Town, uh, one of the locals there were selling drugs to some of the people from my ship, and it got brought up to security.
Mhm. Good. Good.
mm,
And also, even if you go to the Philippines, be just as aware because I've heard things, same things from the Philippines. How the
Oh yeah.
there, there's women that wait on the shore for the Navy ships to come in so that they can attach themselves to the vulnerable, lonely young men on those ships. They waiting on you on port, and they've been doing that since I was in the military, and that was in the 70s, and I think before then, and they still doing it from what I understand. And then there's women all over the world who are waiting on Navy ships to pounce on those men. And you really got off lucky, if you ask me, because there's been worse. You
Oh
actually
yeah.
got off lucky. And I hope you learned that lesson because that's why I said that's on you,
I
because you should
actually
have already
that
learned that
that
lesson by
night
now.
that night I actually lost sleep. I actually didn't sleep the whole night because that was a life changing experience, and I never thought I'd get into a situation like that, especially with older people and me as a young adult who's just leaving my teenage years. I sort of felt raped.
mm.
They might not have physically raped me, but spiritually and psychologically I felt that they raped and subdued me.
You had
Wow.
lost some of your innocence.
Wow. Carlton, what advice could you give Emil from hearing that and knowing he's a young adult out there in the big bad world as a Navy soldier, going from sailor, going from country to country? What kind of good advice you can give this young man?
Well, I would say always, definitely immerse yourself in the culture, and it's an opportunity for you to learn a lot about yourself and who you are and what the type of person you want to be. And so it's a great opportunity for you to do that. So I mean, take moments to take excursions and go learn and see. I know you're young, so the bar scene's what it is. You definitely want to go explore that, but I would say take some time and go learn about those cultures and see what they are, what they have to offer, because you can make some contacts and connections that you might have for the rest of your life. So, I would not limit myself just to go hanging out at the bar with my buddies. And of course, be careful. We say this all the time as Black people. It's a very common thing we always like to say. Not all skin folks are kinfolk. So you have to be very and be very careful when you're out here because people are looking for opportunities to do anything they can to get ahead, and not everybody is governed by the same generosity and kindness and altruism that some people are, that you may have been exposed to. And I was kind of sheltered to a lot in my young days that that's how it should be. And that's how my family taught me. We do it like this, and this. And you realize 19, 20, 21 years old, what the hell happened? So not everybody's governed underneath that same righteousness. Has not been raised with that sense of duty and righteousness. So you have to be very careful. Some of it's because they're just trying to survive. Some of it is just because, hey, they're just greedy and selfish. So I hope that you've had a couple of bad experiences. Luckily nothing bad came out of it, but I think don't let that discourage you from exploring and learning, because there's a lot to learn and a lot to be
Mhm.
gleaned from the experiences you have. Because the military, I'm not sure what your plans are with the military, but it's a great opportunity to be exposed to a lot of things that maybe you weren't exposed to as a young man, as a child, for whatever reasons. So, great opportunity, man. I wish you all the best, man, and thank you. And blessing to
Thank you, sir.
have you safe as well.
And Bill, my advice is this: when you go to the new place, get on the bus, look at the bus schedule, and get on the bus. It's a cheap way to look around. Just get on the bus, sit down, and get yourself a window seat, and sit there and ride the whole bus route all the way back till it circles back to where it picked you up at. And that's a good way. That's how I looked at how I got on the bus in Hawaii and went all the way around the island. And I looked and watched the people and listened to them on the bus. You know, I didn't interact because they're strangers. And you don't interact with strangers unless they smile with you and, you know, chit chat if they're near you. And just watch and listen and learn. That's how you learn the cultures. Watch them as you ride the bus, looking out the window and seeing what they're doing. The other thing is go to daytime activities. Both time you got in trouble, you were at a bar. That's a drinking place and people might have ill intentions. But talk about going to the libraries, to the museums, to the cultural centers, those kind of daytime actions and activities on your day off. Go downtown, sit down on a bench where there's crowded people, you know, and look at them and soak in the culture and listen to people, what they're talking about and how they're hanging out. That's where you learn the culture. You don't learn the culture in a bar. All bars worldwide are the same. It's dark, it's dingy, drunk people and nefarious activities, and some dying and some dancing, some acting silly. Okay, ain't nothing about culture in a bar. It's the same thing worldwide. Hookup, silliness. Some bars might have the innocent dancing there and people going home and just having a good time, but a lot of nefarious activities are going on these days. So when you want to learn culture and learn about people, you go to daytime stuff. And that could be you and your friends. Get friends that are happy in understanding culture and growing. Don't get the ones that are going to be silly and
Oh,
looking down on the culture and looking down
yeah.
on people.
Must I add about that? Uh, a lot of the guys in my ship, they're just all about getting drunk and chasing females on Tinder. And
That's limited. They don't
that
even have
is
to be on the ship to do that.
that is not my kind of thing. I like nature, exploring, traveling, seeing new places. I'm not all about that drunk life chasing females.
And so that's limited for you.
Bitches as they call them. I'm not all
And,
about that.
and you're not, and I can tell that a mile away. So you might have to be real selective about who you actually befriend and hang out with. And it might be a long time
Oh,
finding somebody to hang out with because the people that I suspect out of 1,000, it might be one or two that might be suitable for you to hang out with. And you might have to look high and low to find them. They might be looking for you and they don't even realize you exist. But the ones that you're describing can do what they're doing anywhere in the world. But to learn culture and stuff, you got to go out in the daytime and look at the daytime activities in the light, because that's where the culture is. The bar is no culture. There's no growth. So go to the library, look at their schools, see if you can get a brochure or two. Go to the things where that their cultural landmarks are, and that will give you a better view of it. Even look at joining a tour group, you know, that's going out to the this or that day or whatever, you know, to show you this cultural landmark. Get the brochures from the tourist places. That's the first thing you do. Get on the bus and go to the tourist, it's a word for the tourist destination where they got all these brochures about the cultural things that are there in that area. Get those brochures, pick them up, pick out where you want to go to. And that's what you're going to spend your money on. If you're going to spend money going to cultural centers and looking at stuff instead of going out there drunk in a bar. You can be drunk anywhere in the world and be in the same place because they're just alike. Okay.
yeah. And when we were in Cape Town, South Africa, there were a whole bunch that the EXO was pushing for us to have, such as safari tours and shark cage diving, which is really popular in South Africa. but the country team, they kept asking to scan everybody's passports. And the CO and the XO didn't want to do that because that would be exposing our information.
That's right.
So unfortunately, we were just limited to the bars and clubs in the port terminal.
Were you able to go to the library?
Where all the ships pull in.
I would look at seeing about going to the library or catching the bus and just driving around, seeing what they're doing, or just staying in that little base where you're at. Because I would not have I would have gone to the bar once, but I wouldn't have drunk. Because being drunk makes you very vulnerable, not only to the people that you're talking about, but if you drink the wrong thing, you really messed up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't the days where you can just take chances like that.
Wow.
Well,
I think a lot of new experience since you're young and brand new out there, not just in America, but brand new out there in the whole big old world. That's a lot. What is one of the things that your takeaway that you learned from all the different countries that you went to? What is something that you learned? Maybe it was something in your training that you figured that maybe you couldn't do it, but you made it through. You persevered through it. What's something like that you actually learned, and you can tell people, yeah, you can make it because of this.
Well, I want to say that one of the big important things I learned from traveling to these different countries, especially in Africa, is that the people there are really nice, receptive, and hospitable. Except for that instance I had in that bar in Cape Town, the people there are generally kind-hearted, very warm and welcoming. One time when I was eating at this restaurant in Angola, this waitress who was Black African Angolan, he didn't want me to pour my own drink. Instead, he did it for me. And that's one of the stuff I appreciate about the people in many of these African countries. They're actually much nicer than typical Americans here in the United States. And that's actually one of the reasons why I'm thinking about moving to one of these African countries that I visited. I'm actually thinking about moving to Gabon because Equatorial Africa is a really beautiful place. And me as a nature and animal lover, there are a lot of natural parks and conservation areas in Gabon where a lot of wildlife is protected by the government. And that's what I want to be close to.
Okay, that's very interesting. Let's see. Let's go to story time. Carlton, what's a story that you got from your college days that you had to overcome something that you didn't think you would be able to overcome it? How did you get over it?
Oh man, well, Jones, remember when I was pledging Alpha, and he looking at me, shaking his head. Don't look at him. You remember? And I was tired. I was sleepy. I was sleep deprived. I was taking 21 hours that semester too, and it was just, man, it was a mess, man. I remember I couldn't even sit down straight. Joe was like, "I can't believe let them niggas beat on you, man. What's wrong with you? You smarter than that." I was like, "Look, you just gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta do what you gotta do to get through. Once I get through on the side, I ain't gotta worry about this stuff no more." But it was a very enlightening experience. I think one of the things I learned, I had never been in a truly exclusive Black situation until I had pledged Alpha. That was my first time really just being around nothing Black folks and being in Black culture 24/7, which was an absolutely positively eye-opening moment. Because I grew up, I grew up in a very diverse town. I was in, was in AP classes, so mostly my classmates were white and Asian. So it was a definite culture shock. So having to get along with 18 other guys who are blacker than black. Some of them were like woke tech hope, woke hotep dudes. And back in and so I'm having to like communicate and work with these guys and understand. And we understand we're culturally slightly different, but I got an idea that wow, that even though we are black, we have the same we have differences, we have different ways. And I learned, and I came to understand and accept that blackness doesn't have one flavor, which I found to be super uber fascinating and awesome. So very enlightening and very liberating experience doing that, going through that process with those guys, having to like, having to cook with these guys and clean with these guys and learn information with them and teach them, and they teach me and things like that. So that was a very awesome experience. Having to go through that with these young men. Even though Jones thought the whole process was stupid and cathartic, but anyway, my paying Jones no mind day. Let's not let them steal my joy.
Man, look at here. Let me give you the inside scoop on this damn fraternity hazing stuff that they do. Okay, first off, they paying for partners. That's number one. You gonna pay for somebody to whoop on your ass. Okay, then they got them so scared. Okay, that they're afraid to be seen. Okay, so they'll come to my office. Can I just lay on your floor, just for a little bit? Yeah. Okay, they've been run into seclusion, and this is like all of them. You go up in there, you might have 5 Negroes. It looked like a soup kitchen or something, a homeless shelter. They all laid out on the floor because they pledged, get this, they can't tell nobody they pledging. Yeah, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And I
Oh man, terrible sport, man. But
wow.
but I will say the experience of it. It's almost like in some ways maybe a rite of passage in some ways for young black men to have that sort of time together to bond, to grow, and to learn about one another, so we can make these new connections and learn and learn to love each other, even though we're not blood brothers per se. And so it does have some yield, some benefit. Now Jones like, well, man, all your men, all you black men are brothers and sisters in the eyes of God. So you gotta be able to each other. I was like, look, it just is what it is. We just roll with it. We move on to something else afterwards. But I hope. But I think there's something to be said for getting young black men together and having them talk and communicate and conversate, and be forced to do so, because I can tell how isolated our young black men are, even though they're more connected than they ever have been with all the different technology they have. They're very much so isolated in this world, unfortunately. You definitely can tell the isolation because they can't even hold a basic conversation with one another. They'll talk for a couple of minutes, dap each other up to get on their phones. Like, talk, engage. This is the time to really kind of, to have that brotherhood, that time, whatever. And you can just definitely tell that in our young people, there's a lot of that lacking. Unfortunately, they don't have the ability to just hold a basic "how's the weather" conversation with one another, without going like this. And they totally, and that's where I think a lot of our issues can lie in root there. And if we just had a basic conversation beforehand, it would solve a lot of misunderstandings before they happen in our community. I think that plays a really important role in fixing a lot of black unities by just having some basic conversations with one another. Would help in a lot of ways.
Excellent. Doc, what was the situation from your college years that you had to overcome that you didn't think you was going to be able to make it, other than surviving the cow?
Every single doggone day. I only had 1 meal a day. I could only double up twice a week. Truthfully, it's just one of those where every single semester, especially undergrad, when I was at The Ohio State University, they got this whole thing about shaming now where they say you can't fat shame somebody, you can't diss shame, whatever. Well, Ohio State, look here, when I was there, they shamed the poor students. First day of class, the professor would stand up there, and this is every single class, stand up, and he would start you think he taking roll because he's reading these names, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he ain't really taking roll. He's kind of like the town crier that's letting you know, Negro, why are you up in here? You know your fees ain't been paid. Okay. So if your name was on that list, you had to get your stuff in front of everybody else. You done seen a nice little sexy honey that you think you're gonna holler at. You gotta get all your stuff and you gotta go. You ain't allowed to go over there and see the register, see if you can raise up this money that you owe us. That would probably be, for me personally, the roughest thing for me. I was just always busy at Ohio State because I was working sometimes 3 jobs trying to raise tuition for the next semester and what have you. That now off of my jobs, I had situations. It wasn't me. I'll give you one of the most memorable situations. And because this is being taped, I won't say the names of the individuals, but they will know who they are. I'm working for Student Athlete Support Services office, and I had actually just gotten married, and I get a call from my boss, who's basically saying, Jones, I need you to go to this address, and it's on this street in Columbus, Indianola. And I'm like, now? He said, get there now. Okay. Now imagine having just gotten married maybe 2 months before, and your phone ring, and you got to get up out the bed and you got to leave. That don't go over well with Black women, especially when you tell them, they say the first question is, where you going? The truthful answer, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. And that's the truth. All I have is an address that I've been told that I need to go to. So she starts chirping and talking. Okay, no, you ain't gonna play me for a fool. And I know how they do. They just get to talking. Okay, so I'm putting my stuff on. She jumps out the bed. She putting her stuff on. Okay, I grab my keys. I'm heading out. She's standing at the front door, waiting. She going too. Okay. Okay. This is before GPS. Now I know where Indianola is at, but I don't know the address. I don't know I don't know where the house is. I just know I'm supposed to find it. So I turn on Indianola, I'm driving. I see about 15 cop cars in front of a house. I'm like, please, Lord, please don't let this be where I'm going. Okay. I get caught up in traffic, and lo and behold, my boss at the time walks up, tells the officer, let him through. And I'm like, oh my God. And now she's still talking. What kind of people do you know? What do you actually do for a living? I don't believe that okay, so I'm listening to that. What has happened is 2 of our football players have gotten into a fight. One of them was dating the coach's daughter, Coach John Cooper, and which I didn't think was wise, number one. But apparently he decided he threw with her and he broke up with her, but he goes to practice and tells everybody on the team what he has done. Ah, man, F that B, blah, 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 blah. Well, one of his teammates decided that she shouldn't be lonely that night. And he went over there to console her. Okay. Well, the first player decided he ain't done with it yet. He want to go back over there and, and make up. Well, when he gets there, you know what's going on. Okay. And the girls, Coach Cooper's daughter's roommate, little Asian girl, she just let him in. Now you know what's going on upstairs. Okay. So they get to fighting, tear up the whole upstairs, fighting each other. Okay. I get called in to come and get player B that went over there to console her. They put him in my car, and I'm just looking at him, and he's like, "Man, Jones, don't you think that's gay?" I'm like, "What's gay? I'm butt naked on top of her, and he gonna jump on top of me in the bed. I think brother gay." And I'm like, "Bruh." And he says to my then wife, "Hey, nice to meet you. I hate this under these type of circumstances." Okay. I gotta keep him with me till we go to the football complex. Them is my orders. So I'm driving, trying to get to where I'm trying to get home. Okay. No, Jones, hey, that ain't where we going tonight. We got to go something. I'm bruh. It's bad enough I'm out here at 3:30 in the morning because of you. You just got to go with the plan. Oh, then he gonna insult me. You always been a company man, ain't you? White man tell you to do something, yeah. So I got to listen to all of this all night long. And I was able to keep him locked in my basement until we left for study table, and was able to deliver him. And then it's one of the reasons why many people say, "Well, oh man, I'd love that job." No, you wouldn't, because we had more junk that happened. The player that was upset that he had slept with his girl, he shows up with a brand new Cadillac driving our freshman around in it. So now it's my job to figure out where he got that car, who the car belonged. I don't work for the DMV, and who was riding in the car, and it's like one thing will flow into a whole nother thing. So that would be, that would probably be it for me. I was just busy in undergrad, and like how Carlton them were, they privileged enough that they ain't got to work. They can go around, letting people beat up on them and deprive them of sleep and all of that type. Some of us ain't have that benefit and that opportunity to be that foolish with their time. My sleep deprivation was because of work, but that would probably be it for me, man. Truthfully, I've just been busy. I stay out the way, and that works for me. I don't need to be so social with people. I don't need to pay for partners, and so I can dress up like they dress up, and we can get together out in public and stomp around in a circle like we doing an African tribal dance, awaken the ancestors that don't never show up. But no.
Wow.
That's how I sitting around.
Them are some wild times. Sister Gwen?
I figured out what it took to make an A in class. I didn't think I'd ever do that, but I did. I figured out how to knuckle down and really focus and make an A in class. And that was a big step for me. That was when I went back to school after my Air Force journey. And then I figured out how to settle down, knuckle down, and focus, and really study and do all the stuff it took to make an A.
Wow. Are you going to tell us what your secret was?
Studying all the stuff you think it is. Studying, reading, you're taking notes, sitting in class, sitting in the front, listening to the professor, taking notes and studying the notes, and then you take them, rewrite them so you can read them. In my classes, they even let us bring a tape recorder and then use that and help that read your textbooks, study, and do all the stuff that they say you're supposed to do. I wasn't doing that. I thought I was doing it, but I wasn't. So I had to really redouble my effort, triple my efforts, and then some.
Mm.
The classes I started off with the certain classes. I started off with a C minus and worked my way up to an A for about a final test. Even the professor said you did exactly the way you should be. Start off lower, and then as you learn, you get higher and higher. And that was one of the hardest classes I ever took. And I made I forgot what my final grade was, but by the end of it, I was making higher grades like A's and at the end of it. And I did that in several classes after I learned how to study. Stop hanging out with the stupid kids and start learning from the smart kids and doing what they did. One thing I did was I came in toward the later group. I was still on time, but I came in one of the last ones in before the bell. And so I wound up sitting in the front. And I sat in the front next to one of the ladies who was making very good grades. Because I could see by the way she was, in her notebook, she was turning pages, and it was one A after another on her little return assignments. And I said, wow, she's making A right and left. And then I glanced at her textbook. It's got highlighter in there and tabs and tags and stuff like that in there. And she turned, and then in her notebook, she turned to a clean page so she could start taking notes. And I said, wow, I need to be learning from her about how to make some grades, because she's making A's and she's doing work. And I sat there and watched her and observed how she did that. And I said, okay, I'm gonna incorporate that, because my little tablet-like notebook wasn't nearly as extensive as hers. And I said, but I will be adopting her habits. And so I stopped hanging out or sitting around with the little cute girls, because this lady came in, her hair was washed, and she did hygiene, but she didn't do grooming. She wasn't pretty. She wasn't painted. She had no time for that. She was focused. And I said, okay, that's where you should be focusing at instead of all this paint and primping. Get rid of that junk. That's taking up time. Focus on your studies and do your work. And so she did. I stopped even talking to the little cute girls, the kind that I like, be hanging out with and just primping and running around campus looking at the boys. I stopped moving with them. I started learning from the women that the mothers that's got 2 kids and got a focus and stuff. And those are the ones to learn from. And I learned that. The men couldn't tell who was making good grades or not, because I wasn't close enough to see what's going on in their notebooks. But I started observing the notebooks of the women around me, and I could see, because it was mostly girls in the front, and I could see what kind of ones were studying, and I could see the ones who wasn't paying attention, looking at the guy across the room and stuff like that. And I could see who was making grades, and that's how I learned to make grades, because I focused on my studies. I stopped my focus on the cute guy and started focusing on what I was really studying and there for.
Exactly.
Did they help?
Wow. Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's what we got to do to make it happen. That's what we got to do. We are at our time. We're going to, Emil, one more question for you. Since you are fully in and you know the military life, would you recommend it to other people?
It's all up to them if they can handle military life and if they think they are fit to be in the military.
Mm-hmm. What do you think has to be some of the requirements that will actually make you fit to be in? What are some of those?
You just gotta be really mentally strong, because even after basic training, when you're in the fleet, you will get yelled at a lot, especially when you're in food service. They will really be hard, harsh, and tough on you, making sure you're not fucking up. Because during my first deployment previously, when I started working in the galley and I started cooking and serving, I was making a few mistakes here and there, but eventually I didn't allow all that harsh talk and yelling to get to me. I just improved and got better at what I did. over the course of the deployment, and that's what made me sailor in the spotlight. That's what earned me those rewards.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Is there something that your visit to the different African countries that really shocked you or surprised you that you wasn't expecting?
Uh, well, before I visited all these African countries, I've been hearing a lot of Black content creators on YouTube, the people that I've been following for quite some time, especially Keith Newsom, say that even though Africa is supposedly free and liberated from their former colonizers, they're
Mm-hmm.
really not, because there are some African countries that still pay colonial debts back to France. And
Mm.
indeed, I did visit some African countries where their official languages were European languages. Gabon, the official
Mm.
language there is French. When I shopped at uh, the supermarket in Libreville, Gabon, all the products they were selling were French products. French food, French pastries. I didn't see anything that's original from Gabon. And
Mm.
then Angola and Mozambique, their official languages there are Portuguese. And most of their architecture is actually based off of Portuguese and Spanish architecture.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
So, yeah,
Wow.
a lot of African countries are far from liberation. They're still colonized and conquered in the mind. And to make matters worse, they have a new oppressor, and that's the Chinese.
Mhm.
So both the Europeans and the Chinese are running amok in Africa. And there really needs to come a time where African people need to wake up. They need to overthrow their corrupt leaders, and they need to run out everybody in Africa that's not supposed to be in Africa. Everybody that's not doing Africa any benefit.
Mm.
And
Mm.
uh, all these African nations and African people also need to start running their own stuff instead of having the Europeans and the Chinese run stuff for them. You know, previously I watched a live stream on the Black Hot Fire Network on YouTube, hosted by Keith Newsom, where he was talking about how all the tea and coffee that's originally from Africa, they're not run by African people themselves. They're all run by the Europeans. And the reason why nothing is run by African people is because they allow themselves to be weak and punked out. And that
Mm.
all of that needs to stop and change. If African people are to be truly liberated,
Wow. Wow. Man, that is a true report. That is a true report. Wow.
so I've witnessed myself just how conquered many of these African nations are still, unfortunately. And they're not lying when they say that the Chinese are taking over Africa. It's not a conspiracy. They really are trying to take over Africa. When I was in Gabon, Angola, and Mozambique, I saw a lot of Chinese, and Seychelles. I saw a lot of Asians running stuff there and controlling a lot of stuff there.
Mm.
I'm a
Wow.
witness to all these things, and I can tell you from my own personal experience that all of these stuff that these people are saying on YouTube are true.
Wow.
And we're not just we know they know exactly what they're talking about, and they're not making stuff up.
Mm. 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 Wow. Wow. Wow.
But apart from that, Africa is a really beautiful uh, land, and the people there are very nice, friendly, and welcoming. Not like all the bad stuff mainstream media portrays about Africa.
Which
And that's all,
country?
that's also another um divide and conquer tactic to keep African Americans and other diasporic Africans from other places around the world to going back to Africa and reconnecting to their roots.
Which one do you think? Which country do you think um, which continent do you think is better? It's more beautiful, Africa or America?
Oh, definitely Africa. I can't stand the cold weather here. The 20 degrees, 10 degrees weather. I hate it how during the winter time everything is dead. Whereas in Africa, it's tropical year round. Well, in most places in Africa, because when you go down south uh, around Namibia and South Africa, that's when it starts to get really cold.
Mm.
But Africa, for the most part, is really green and lively compared
Mm.
to uh, these uh, colder places like North America, Canada, and Europe, where it's only beautiful during the summertime and springtime, but then things start to get dead around the fall and winter.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Well, we are definitely looking forward to you posting your pictures of Africa up so that we can share and look and see exactly everything that you saw. Because I never been to Africa. I will be there someday, but
Oh, you definitely should take go to Africa and take your whole family there. They will
mm,
they will love it. It's a really different
mm,
experience.
mm. Wow. What is the main difference between that you saw, if any, between black people in America and the different Africans you saw in the different countries?
Let me think about it really hard. Uh, I think I didn't really notice a huge difference from them.
Hmm.
I think African people slash black people by nature are good natured people. It's just it's just that like what some others have stated, not all black folks are kin folks. There are some every race has bad apples.
Hmm.
But I didn't really notice a huge difference between Black Americans and continental Africans. I think one thing they share in common though is that they're all still conquered mentally, spiritually, and psychologically, and need to break free from those curses.
Hmm. Hmm. Definitely, definitely. Well, if you see Angel Snubnose floating around YouTube, you make sure you tell them that there ain't no big difference between the continental African and the Black American that's right here, because he seems to think that they're worlds apart. They're nothing like each
I don't think he's gonna listen to me, especially since I'm way younger than him. He'll
other.
probably start making videos about me.
And
Saying,
he ain't never been
telling,
to
telling,
Africa.
telling,
You
telling,
have.
telling everybody that I'm one of those people on YouTube spreading the toxic, so-called toxic Pan-African agenda. Because Angel Snuff 7 is really anti-Pan-African. I don't think he'll ever understand.
Yes.
I think he already has a fixed mindset. I mean, it's worth the try. It's worth the try, but based on
It
the
is. It
content he's
is.
been
It
doing for
definitely
years,
is.
I don't think he's gonna change.
No, he may not change, but it is worth a try because he ain't never been to the continent and you're newly coming from it. So you got experience that he doesn't have. So it may make a little difference. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move to closing comments. We'll start with Sister Gwen, then Doc, and we let Brother Emil end with his closing comments.
Emil, it was good to see you again. I'm glad that you're doing well. The other thing is destroy the demons, empower and blessings. I always say that. I want to make sure that said that. And I'm glad to see you. I do have a question. What happened at that time when you first started that you went in the military and you said this guy was making you uncomfortable, and we said to report it because it sounds like he might escalate. What happened? Do you remember? He was he was
Uh,
he was it might not even be something you want to say on this, but he was he was making fun. He thought that you had different sexuality or something like that, and he was messing with you or trying.
they cut it out eventually.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad that you stayed strong then. And that's it, because I was worried about you.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And it's good to see everybody else.
You know, Brother Emil, may be difficult for you to understand this or even hear this, but you are living my dream. You are traveling the globe and you are cooking. I wish I had gotten the breaks you got in those opportunities, because that's definitely what I would be doing versus having my hair turn gray as I try and pray to black and white Jesus about giving me strength to go in here into this classroom 7 days from now. I am on the countdown. I'm not happy. There is no joy over here.
Wow.
So, man, I am glad that you're doing well. Um, Cherish every opportunity, every place you go. There's this old song that they taught us in Bible school. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice in it. Enjoy this world that God made, and truly enjoy its glory and its beauty, and um, and don't let nobody rob you of your joy,
Hmm.
not for a single second, man. So, God bless you. Keep going forward, bro.
Thank you. God bless you too, sir.
Definitely. And Emil, we've been in contact your whole time that you've been gone. And I thank you for all your updates. I read every one of them, even though I couldn't reply to everything because, of course, I had got sick with COVID while you were away.
Oh,
But I was.
I got really sick too. After we came back from Florida, I got
Mhm.
really sick for over a week, and then my mom and my brother got sick from me too, and they both tested positive for COVID.
Oh, wow.
I didn't want to get tested
Hmm.
because I was scared that if my command found out I got COVID, they might be more strict about me going back home and going out of the area.
Right.
So I kept my sickness a secret, and just
Mm-hmm.
between me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom and my brother, they did get tested and they tested positive. So it's possible that since they got sick from me, uh, since they got sick after I got sick, it's possible that I also got sick with COVID.
Mm. But your mom and brother are fine now?
Oh yes, they're fine now.
Good, 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 good. Yeah, that bad boy ain't no joke. That ain't no joke. Emil, what's your closing comments? What's your takeaways?
I would just like to say thank you for having me on this panel. I really appreciate each and every one of you. I enjoyed telling all my experiences in Africa. I thought I'd never ever visit Africa. Africa. Before I even joined the Navy, I've always been fascinated with Africa and African culture. It's one of those things that I would just always research in Google and see pictures of, but I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever touch Africa. And hey, my dream came true. And in my personal opinion, I think this is proof that there is indeed a creator, there is indeed a God, God is real, and He listens to each and every one of our thoughts and prayers and makes them come true accordingly as long as we're good people at heart.
Okay, that's good.
Mm, excellent, excellent, excellent. Well, we thank everybody. We thank the panel. And as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black First today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Peace. Love you all. Take care, Emil.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.